At 67 years old, most people slow down, but my student Mark did the opposite. He came to us broken, in pain, limited, and believing that age had already written his story. But what happened next rewrote everything. From barely being able to squat and constantly in pain, to holding handstands, training for splits, and moving like a kid again, Mark has rediscovered joy through his own body. This is a story about what happens when you refuse to accept decline as destiny. Mark's transformation isn't just physical, it's generational, because it started with his father, who inspired him to make a change and to fix his body, to now allowing him to inspire his own family, proving that change at 67 doesn't just change you, it changes everyone else around you. He told me once, "My whole body feels like a new model." And after seeing how far he's come, I believe him. This is the story of what movement can do when you stop counting years and start reclaiming life. So Mark, you are 67 years old. And I think that if anybody saw you today, they wouldn't believe that you're 67 years old. The things that you are doing with your body, the hanging, the squatting, the crawling, the handstands, you are moving like a well-oiled machine. It's actually incredible to see, and in such a short space of time since I've known you over the last 4 months. I want to hear in your own words, what does Mark 2.0 look like today?
Okay, Mark 2.0 looks like, well, you said it very well when you said a well-oiled machine. That's exactly what I feel like. I have a deep inner joy that just does not want to quit. I wake up in the morning and I'm looking forward to working out, trying something new, exploring my body, figuring out what will work.
Amazing. And when did you first notice that your body felt oiled?
First week, the
In the
first
first
week
week
of
of training?
first week of training. Yeah,
Can you tell me what that looked like to you, and how does that feel in a day-to-day life that you experience?
sure. Yeah, when I get out of bed, instead of like feeling like my joints are stiff or whatever, I just kind of like, I'm out of bed and I'm like, oh, I'm out of bed. It's just effortless. Um, I don't feel the stiff joints that I used to have. And so my day just feels more invigorating.
Amazing. And you've used the phrase before, I've heard you talk about inner joy that just won't quit. What does that mean to you? Can you expand on that?
It's kind of difficult because it's just a feeling inside that I'm just so happy with. I've always been happy being alive, but I've got a deeper sense. There's something just won't quit. It's just a deep feeling that I just it's hard to really describe. It's just a deep feeling, and I'm just very happy.
Amazing. All right. So let's rewind a little bit now. Before all the handstands, before the new model body, there was a hunchback, there was constant pain, there was a mindset of just ignore the pain and keep going. So tell me about what was it like back then? So before Mark 2.0.
Okay. Before Mark 2.0, it was after I would be driving Uber for hours in my car. The first step I took out of the car, I was hunched over. My back was stiff. I had to force my body to be upright. It was very painful in doing that. And then once I went in the house, going up the steps, I was always wondering if my knee was going to buckle or I was going to have any kind of pain in my knees. And the other thing would be is my feet. I'm flat-footed, and it was very painful to walk around sometimes too. I play a lot of basketball, so my legs hurt. And sciatica. I had sciatica in my back, and whenever I played basketball, there was actually one time that my leg gave out running, and I almost hit the. I did hit the wall. If it wasn't for like a support they had on the wall, I could have injured myself really bad. But
Mhm.
fortunately, that never happened.
And what did you believe about aging at that time?
I believe aging was just the way it is. Life is just going to be the way it is. There's nothing I can really do about it. Um, I just, I was just accepting it. That was it. I accepted it.
Hmm. And was there a moment when you realized that something had to change?
Yeah, it was when I almost injured myself going into the wall. And when I left out one other thing too. I had meniscus that was a problem as well in my knee. I didn't think things could change. That's the really the answer that I would give. I didn't think things could change, and I was just locked into that space.
Hmm. So, like most people, I guess your age and probably even younger, they kind of just accept the fact that they're getting older and they feel like they can't do anything about it, right? And they feel like it's just part of it. It's part of getting older. It's part of your sedentary habits. It's something that I think a lot of people kind of misunderstand because we see it day to day. We see people of all ages, thriving at life, moving well up until the very last stages of life. And I feel, in your opinion and from your experiences as before you started this program, how did you think? Like, why did you give into that feeling of not being able to do it? Why did you give into the feeling of just, accepting reality as it was with aging and things like that? What kind of prevented you from believing in more?
Everything I tried didn't seem to work. Nothing I would try. Um, I had two frozen shoulders, and I went to go to physical therapy, and I went for a year, and they said, well, in a year you'll get some mobility back, and I did get mobility back, but it took a long time. I would I've gone to chiropractors a lot in my lifetime too, and that never really seemed to help me at all. So everything I was doing wasn't working. Nothing was working. I've done foam rolling. I thought even like doing sports would loosen my body up and I would be able to actually move a lot more. And of course, I got the sciatica in my back and butt, and it. I was just at the point I didn't think anything was going to work, and because of things I tried weren't working.
Yeah. Okay. So then talk to me about the catalyst that prompted you to make a change and to try something different.
Okay, well, I'm looking at her right now. It's you, Vanya. It's the energy that I experienced in witnessing Vanya on Facebook. That's when I first saw her, and it was consistent. Her energy was always there. She was always flowing, and she was unapologetic. I could feel inner passion, a deep joy inside of her. I don't know if I call it inner joy, but I could see a deep commitment inside of her and who she was. And I was wondering what makes this girl tick. And it appealed to me just watching all the different moves that she did. And I was going like, I'm not gonna do those kind of things. I'm 67 years old, but it was very appealing to me at first, and it gave me hope that maybe there was something new.
Okay, so really quick, I want to share a resource with you that I have available. If you are currently feeling injured, stiff, broken, if you're a professional athlete looking to improve your mobility, my Mobility Toolkit is currently helping over 50,000 people in 40 plus countries, people ranging from all walks of life, complete beginners, professional athletes, men and women in their 70s and 80s. If you have 15 minutes to spare, this will work for you and it's going to produce dramatic results within weeks. Check it out. And now that you mentioned that, a lot of people I think do see me moving and they kind of get a little bit intimidated and they think, hey, this is just for young people. I see these comments all the time. Oh, you're young, you can do it. It's too late for me. I'm too broken, too far gone. But you didn't think like that. Why do you think that you were looking, at what you saw on social media and you thought, wow, I feel inspired. I actually want to make a change instead of saying, oh, I could never do that. That's not for me.
Well, I relied first on just seeing Vanya that she could do it, and I relied on how she was unapologetic in her beliefs, and then and the fact that she was probably half my age, it really slowed me down from thinking that could be possible. But in my life, um, my father actually had a weak core, and his core was actually what did him in as far as his death. He was not able um, to do the normal things you would in life, and he fell so many times, and he was warned by the nurse that if he didn't take care of his core, he would get worse. He would not be able to support his body, and that's exactly what happened. He ended up having his a broken hip, and he died from that. So that was a catalyst inside of my being as well of like there's something out there that can change me, and if this is it, this is what I want to partake in.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard you talk about it before, and the catalyst being your father and seeing him, as you said to me before, he was so strong in the mind and so healthy otherwise, but it was just this physical weakness that sort of prevented him from living his best life. What did you see in your father that made you think differently about your own body and about your own future?
I saw my father that his body was so weak that he couldn't support himself, and I knew that if I allowed that to happen to myself, the same thing was going to happen to me.
And why was that so important to you that it made you decide to commit to doing things different?
It was important to me because of my family and my future generations. First and foremost to myself, that I owed it to myself to see if this worked. I had to give it a chance. I had to try it. Even though Vanya's half my age, I need to try it. And as I tried it, I experienced, like I said, within a week, my body starting to feel more fluid. So I owed it to myself, I owed it to my daughter, and I owed it to my future generations. To me, that's the most important part about this whole thing is if it's going to work for me, I'm going to share it. That's just who I am. I'm going to share it with every single person I come in contact with because I want them to have that same peace of mind and longevity in their own life, and that it can be extended throughout generations for all families.
That's beautiful. So now we're going to fast forward to your journey when you start training. You start to move differently. You said within that first week, things were starting to change for you and your body was beginning to change. So talk me through that first initial stages of when you started training, and your breakthrough moments within that first week.
Okay. All right. So when I first started training, I noticed the first thing I noticed is my feet were starting to feel better. As I said, I'm flat-footed. I noticed that my toes, even though they were burning to start off with, and doing this as I would do a lunge, it was a very short time within the first week of when I started feeling my toes loosening up and my feet loosening up. And I also started feeling my knees getting stronger as well. I could bend down easier. I was able to move more fluid. My hips began to feel looser.
Amazing. And walk me through, I think one of the things that both you and I are very proud of you achieving is the handstand. So walk me through your first attempt at a wall handstand versus where you are now.
Okay. Well, my first attempt at a wall handstand was just on faith, just to see what would happen. And I'm glad I had the faith to do it. I was probably 4 feet from the wall, maybe, or more. And my body I was learning how to squeeze my core. I didn't really have a lot of strength in my shoulders. I couldn't really push my body up the way I needed to with my shoulders. My hands, they I wasn't really gripping the ground like I do now. My elbows were angled out like a bird, I guess.
Hmm.
And now I can feel my body is more in a straight line, and I can move up the wall stronger. I used to be, I might be able to do it one time up the wall. Now I go up the wall like five, six times, seven, and I can stay there. I can actually stay there on the wall. But the regressions I needed were what actually helped me to get there as well.
Beautiful. And I know like a lot of people, even half your age, are afraid of movement. You know, things like handstands would scare them. They wouldn't be able to overcome the fear of doing movements that they haven't experienced before, unconventional movements or movements where they might think, you know, they can get injured or hurt. But you never thought like this. From day one, you were experiencing everything. Like you were deep diving into all the movements, trying everything, pushing yourself. Why do you think that is? And then why do you think other people cannot get to where you are mentally?
Well, that's just what it is. It's mental. The whole thing is mental. You have to be able to say, I'm just going to do it. I'm just going to explore. I need a baseline. I got to start this off. And once I start it off, I have somewhere I can go. If I never start, I have nowhere to go. And that was my mindset is I'm going to start. I don't expect it to be pretty. I don't expect it to look graceful. I just expect that I'm going to have a baseline. And that was to me the most important thing. And I think the coaching calls have helped me a lot to understand that the body will not allow you to do anything unless it trusts you. Actually, Vanya said the same thing. If you're if you don't if you can't do something, it's because the body is not ready for that. You might need to do a regression until you can build yourself up to that level. But I found that for myself that I would just keep going because I felt my body was trusting me. And if I felt like there was a lack of trust, I would do a regression until I built the link between my body and my nervous system up.
Amazing. And were there ever days when you doubted whether this would work for you?
Oh yeah, I doubt. I doubted in the beginning for a moment, but only a moment. It was really the baseline. Once I had a baseline established, and once I had the vision of my father and my future generations and everything inside, why I was doing this, that is why I kept going. And that's why I continue to do it today, is because of family, because of the benefits that I see in my body and the way it's helped me in doing just everything's in everyday life.
Mhm. And tell me about some wins that stand out for you. The first hang, the first pain-free morning, the first pull-up handstand. Tell me about that.
The first win I had was doing the 90-90 position, being able to actually have my body being upright instead of looking like I was leaning over like the Leaning Tower of Pisa.
Mhm.
And that was a huge win for me because my hips were tight and I thought that's just the way I am. But I kept on working on it, and the coaches were excellent in guiding me in that. And I followed their advice, and that's what made the difference. I followed what Vanya had on her videos. So that was the first thing. The second thing in doing a bridge, I looked like a valley when I was first doing a bridge.
Mhm.
Not bridge, but a tabletop move where you basically have your look like a table. And my table, you could probably put a bowl of water on and put some fish in the middle there. Let them swim around. But now my table is firm. Now I can feel my shoulders elongating uh, I'm elevating using my lats and so forth to above my shoulders, and I can feel really strong. Um, I feel like my knees are, to use a term Vanya is bulletproof. They actually really feel strong. It feels like somebody's got like a capsule around my kneecap. Some of the other things I don't do is pike push-up. When I did a pike push-up, I didn't think I'd be able to do that. When I did the handstand, just being able to do the regression of a handstand where you have your legs on a platform and you've got your body elevated. That was really not very comfortable at all to bring my body underneath because you have to get to a point where you feel like you're going to fall over, but you're not because you're supported. That was a great thing for me to witness, to see that being upright and feeling strong. And there's others.
I think my favorite part of this work that I do is just seeing, when people achieve these things and the transformations that they make and something that they never thought possible for them in terms of movement capacity and ability to do. Right. And I think it's such a powerful thing because, as I always say, being physically strong is a catalyst towards improving every area of your life. And if you are physically robust and resilient, everything else will have like a flow on effect. So whether that's your work, whether that's your relationships, whether that's your self-confidence, whether, whatever it is that you want to do in life, everything will follow along with being physically capable and physically strong. And I think you've proven that, and even when I see you, like you just look so much more robust and resilient. Your body, the way that you hold the movements, it's really incredible to see.
Yeah, I look in the mirror and I can see my shoulders look different. They feel different. My arms are different. My whole body is different. And I feel like this has helped me so much in so many different ways. Not just the exercise part, but the determination, the commitment, the confidence. Uh, and I have such a desire. If there's a place if I need to work out, like for example, over the weekend, I was at a retreat and I didn't have all the things I normally have here. So I'm looking around trying to find somewhere I can hang, and I end up hanging on a beam in an A-frame building. And people saw me hanging there, like, "What are you doing up there?" And I'm like, "I'm just hanging around." And then I did. There was a cafeteria. And I was inside. Nobody was there, and I'm like, "Oh, there's a wall. I can do a handstand here." So I did a handstand. Um, so it's
Yeah.
just part of your blood. It's part of my blood now.
That's so beautiful to hear. That's the thing that makes me most happy. And that's the message that I always try to teach people. It needs to become a part of your identity. And you need to understand that everywhere you go, everywhere you find yourself, movement is the first and most important thing that you have at the top of your mind. And you find it everywhere. And it almost becomes like childlike play, you know, which for you, as I know you've said to me, this has brought you inner joy that just won't quit. So, what's the difference between being pain free and feeling that kind of inner joy?
Well, definitely a level above. Once you feel pain free, and then that confidence of like saying, "Look, something just shifted in here that never was there before," and then having that inner joy on top of that. That's just icing on the cake. It's just
Mm.
it's just something I really am grateful for, and I don't really try to question why I have it. I'm just more grateful that I do have it.
And you've called this your holy grail. Explain that to me.
Exactly. Holy Grail. It's a fountain of youth. It's a holy grail. It's something I've been looking for my entire life. Um, Maybe subconsciously, not really knowing I was looking for it. My father, the experience with my father and the desire to change my life and seeing someone that I love so much and his life just going down the tubes and realizing there could be something I could do to change that for myself and for everyone else, my future generations. That's my holy grail. That's what has changed my life. To me, the holy grail is the fountain of youth. It's the way of everlasting joy, everlasting understanding, everlasting peace. I look at this whole experience right now as being an everlasting process. It's not going to be a one off that I'm done. This is my life. Holy Grail it's going to go on and on forever for the rest of my life. And that's the way I see it as.
Amazing. And how does movement now connect to your mind and to your emotions?
Well, before when I first started doing movement, it was more of like, oh, gotta get a rep done. Oh, there's another rep, another rep, another rep. Now it's conscious. I'm focusing more on my breath, and I'm still working on this, is connecting my breath to my movement, and just to be able to controllably move through a motion that I thought I would never be able to do. It's totally amazing to me. So the connection of mind and body and just it just leads over to other things too, because you have to be present with yourself in whatever you do. Whenever you feel like you've got a challenge you're facing, I feel you have to be present. You have to be present. You have to be in your body and you have to experience it. You can't allow it to be something just like, up, that's one rep, up, that's two reps. And just like life, you can't go through life thinking that, oh, I just finished doing this and I finished that. It's more of like, why are you doing it and being in the moment with it?
100%. Like I always say, it's respecting your practice. You know, this physical practice gives you so much back in terms of health, in terms of wellness, mindset. And I think owing that respect to your practice by showing up, being present, being aware, being grateful that you get to do this with your body. It's so important. And holding that to a very high standard. And I think, people get that wrong. They treat it like a chore or a bore or something that they have to do, every hour with their trainer at the gym, when it's really not like that. It should encompass your whole being and your whole life. And it shouldn't feel like it's something you have to do. It should feel like it's something that you get to do, that you have the pleasure of doing, right? And something that brings you so much reward and so much joy, like you just said. So I think it's beautiful that you understand that and you're able to sort of comprehend the deeper meaning of why we do this.
Yeah, I like to play with it.
Mhm.
Even if I fall over doing whatever I'm doing, I just play with it. Um, it's more, I'm trying to go back to when I was a kid. That's what I'm really trying to do. This has always been in me. It's always there. I'm just rediscovering it. My holy grail.
Exactly. 100%. And would you say that this practice has now changed how you see life in general?
Yeah. Yeah, it's changed the way I've seen life. Now it's more of I see this as more of a mission. I was in the military for a number of years, so mission is one of my favorite words is mission complete. In this
Mhm.
case, mission is ongoing. It's not going to be complete, but I see this whole journey as a mission, and it's changed my life in just so many ways. The way I interact with other people, the way I share my experiences with other people. I have a desire to be able to like be in a park someday and just doing a handstand across the room, across the park, and people that are 60s, 70s, whatever, like, hey, what's that? You know, I look at myself as my life now is a role model. I'm a role
Yeah.
model to people of my own generation and
Mhm.
people, future generations to come.
Yeah, and that was a question I was going to ask you. I mean, you've mentioned that your father's fall and passing started this journey for you, but now you talk about future generations and inspiring future generations. So, what do you mean by that? Can you expand on that a little bit?
What I mean by future generations are the generations will come after me, my daughter's children, and any others. A lot of my immediate family have already passed away, but my daughter's children, their children, their children, their children, and future generations of people on this earth. Every person on this earth right now most of them have the idea that the mindset, you get old, you don't move, you sit in your chair, and you wait until you die. And I've seen it a lot, and it's very sad. It really breaks my heart when I hear people do that. I'm hoping to inspire people, future generations, like by every person I come in contact with, that they will see that just because you're 60, 70, whatever, doesn't mean you can't move. It doesn't mean you can't do things that are people who are 20, 30, 40 years old can do. I just hope to inspire them with a mindset. 60 is a number, and that's all it is. Anybody can do this stuff. Anybody can change their body. Anybody can move. Anybody can increase their flexibility, their strength. And I just hope to inspire everybody with that. I think when I go to the gyms, I inspire people because most people I see are not my age at the gyms. I saw people look at me when I was doing a handstand yesterday, and just kind of watching me for a while, see what I was doing. Um, so that's what I mean. Future generations of inspiring people that age is only a number and that there is a way to get your body back to when it was childlike.
Hmm. And what do you think is the key factor that prevents people from thinking like you and from being able to do this? If there was something that you could offer them, to help them change their mindset very quickly around these things, what would you say to them?
They owe it to themselves. They owe it to the future generations. This is not just about them. This is about their future generations to come and inspiring them so that they can have a healthy life and have the inner joy that we all have. We all get caught up in so much in this world. And I think just the idea that you can inspire others by your own actions.
So if 66-year-old Mark, the man who thought that pain was just part of aging, the man who had
67.
that hunchback, well, I'm going back to last year. If this Mark could see you today, what would he
Oh,
think?
oh my God. That's a very good question, Vanya. Very good question. Yeah. I think he'd be clapping. I hope I don't freak anybody out, but I have this new thing that I do for myself whenever I do something that I find very special. I have a way of saluting myself. So it might be a little loud, but I go, and so I think he would realize that he accomplished what he thought he would never be able to accomplish.
That's awesome. And now that you're 67 and you say you're just getting started, what excites you most about the next chapter?
I want to take all these elements I have and build them for, I want to be able to do handstands. I want to do bridges, not just for the show part of it, but that's just a way of knowing that all the elements are leading up to that were in place because you can't really do these things if you don't do the regressions before, I believe. Um, and that's really, really important to me.
And what's possible now for you that you never imagined possible at 66?
I've always been very athletic, very outgoing. I'm going to say mildly athletic. I don't think I've never been like, I play a lot of sports and so forth, but I just feel like the sky's the limit. I don't really have anything in particular that I want to do. Maybe right now, I'm noticing things changing already in this right now. That where if I'm playing basketball with my friends, because I've been doing these wide splits, front splits, middle splits, so forth. Now my stride is longer. I don't have sciatica in my body anymore, and I'm out running most of the guys on the court, which is pretty amazing. And my arm strength is stronger. My grip strength when I'm holding a basketball, it used to be people get the ball away from me. Now it's so funny. They'll come close to me and they'll try for a moment and then they'll walk back because they know they can't get the ball away from me.
That's beautiful. So tell me, as a final thing, what message do you have for our listeners, the ones who might think that it's too late for them, that they're too far gone?
If you think you're too far gone, it's too late, you're right. You can't think that. That's the message. You can't think that. You have to believe that there's a new you inside of this body that you're believing is not going to change. And if you believe that, then you can change. If you don't, you've already got your answer. If I would have said from the beginning that I couldn't do this, I'd have my answer. I wouldn't be here with Vanja expressing all the good things that have happened in my life. And I wouldn't be able to have the opportunity to pass this on to future generations.
That's awesome.
So if you're on the fence, get off the fence. Get your butt off the fence. Get your feet moving and take the chance. You might think that the money might be the issue or time might be the issue, but what is really the issue is you. And you just have to take that step forward.
That's amazing. So if we could part with the audience with one last sort of wise words from Marc, what would that be?
Rock on. You got this.
Rock on. Okay, so really quick, I want to share a resource with you that I have available. If you are currently feeling injured, stiff, broken, if you're a professional athlete looking to improve your mobility, my Mobility Toolkit is currently helping over 50,000 people in 40 plus countries, people ranging from all walks of life, complete beginners, professional athletes, men and women in their 70s and 80s. If you have 15 minutes to spare, this will work for you and it's going to produce dramatic results within weeks. Check it out.